guys, welcome back for another Quest for the Sixes 55 build video. So I know these are kind of like getting drug out. We're at video 18. I think there's going to be a total of 22 to 23 total build videos of the 55, and then we'll get into actually driving and racing, which I'm excited to get there. So in today's video, it's going to be a little bit all over the place. This is the last video prior to just a mad rush when stuff just got insanely hectic. So in this one, there's everything from me starting wiring and Dad mounting Holley components and all of that to I got a new suit at the end of the video. We're all over the place in this, but this was literally the calm before the storms. You'll see throughout the video the facepalm emoji placed in there multiple times, and it's funny, I had to do it because watching back I predicted my future. We definitely had some points where Dad was like, we're gonna end up working on this car at, very last minute rush. It's like, well, we did, so facepalm moment. But anyways, that's what that's all about. You guys are getting a clue as to the upcoming videos, but done rambling for now. I'm actually currently at in Newport, so in California. I'm gonna be going to AFR, or to Powerado Media Studios, tomorrow to shoot a tech video, informational video for Airflow Research, AFR. So, and that's pretty fun. So anyways, I'm going to get this edited and up for you guys, and then I'm gonna go, I think I'm gonna spend some time checking out California just for a couple hours. Then I'll go back to work. So following up here, a lot has been done since the firewall, but let's check it out. It's starting to look like a real race car in here. So as you can see, both seats mounted. We've got the IDIDIT steering column mounted with the steering wheel on and ready to go. This is a quick release. Look at everything else. There's how many levers? We got 6 going on here?
6 cables.
6 cables, 4 levers.
So this red one gets a cable that goes back to the master disconnect. So when you push that forward, it'll be the same as pushing the knob in on the back of the car. It'll kill everything.
This is a kit that Low Car has.
Yeah, that's awesome. So that gets 1 cable, shifter gets a cable, parachute from Stroud gets 2 cables. You can see that that's on and working. That's nice. I've made this shifter where we can literally unscrew a couple hose clamps and pick the whole thing up, set it out, and we can take the gear vendor out through here. So highlight this because there's probably a lot of people that aren't familiar with an open transmission tunnel. Including us. I was gonna say, I had no idea until we were doing this that's a thing. I wasn't gonna do that. I made it where we were gonna cover it and put Zeus fasteners on top of it and be covered in carbon fiber, and Tom Bailey said that if we cover it, he's gonna come kick our ass.
That was pretty much his words.
Yeah, he said it. I mean, he said, that looks so good. He said, I said, but it'll get hot in here. And he said, my 2.0 is open and it's cooler than 1.0 that's closed. So Tom Bailey, if we cook,
it's your fault.
It's your fault.
So basically, the sides and up above will not be covered. So that's why it's got this going across like that. So this, as it sits, is what it'll look like. And there'll be a belly pan underneath that we're going to be making out of titanium from TMS.
And it'll be the transmission, gear vendor, and everything will be where you can see it. And like you've been having a fit about, your car's worse than mine getting the transmission bolts out to pull a transmission or a motor. Well, ours are right here. It takes like 38 seconds to take them out.
So nice. Here's another handle. And
this is Tim McAmus's carbon fiber kit that hooks to the Stroud dual fire systems. We'll have 2 bottles, and when you throw that lever, it'll activate both of them. So that's very cool. It's very easy to get to.
That's really nice.
You got the chute here, the master disconnect, and the fire all within reach. Plus your start, stop, fans, everything. We may not use those switches because most of it will be controlled by the Holley, but all of it.
They're there. And then
look at this.
Nice Holley dash mounted here. This is the 12.3 inch Pro Dash.
This will also attach with a couple bolts, but it'll slide out if you're working on the transmission.
Oh, nice. That's pretty trick.
And when it's in, this wedges back. So when it's in, that's tight, but it'll have a couple number 10 bolts that'll hold it all in. And you can reach it from your side. It's easy.
So we
and
discussed...
one of my favorite things.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead.
From back in my California Volkswagen days, a wink mirror. You can see the whole world.
You
through that
literally
mirror.
can see everything back here. Let me see if you guys are able to see. So you can see Bad Marrow to the left. You can see the VP fuel drum to the right. You can see everything back there. COE in the rearview mirror.
Be able to see those two big Stroud chutes.
Yeah, that's actually really nice. We were just talking about that. Like you can see if your chutes deploy or not. Hopefully they do.
And then you got a quick disconnect on the steering wheel, which is really nice. It's a little nicer than some. You just pull that thing, so it's really quick and easy.
Something I was going to say just a second ago is we discussed different places to mount that. This is right here because you can tune with this dash and you can see pretty much anything that's going on with your car, vitals wise, what's happening there. So we discussed everything. So you can see literally everything. So up here is where we had looked at putting it, but that's a long reach, even for long arms over here to get to the dash. So we put it here so that way we can change screens, tune, use all of its capabilities, and actually be able to reach it. So
just think of all the instruments on our little dashes. We have them loaded with every vital that the car's doing. Well, we can space them out some on here, and I actually have to change from one screen to the other, like to have CEGTs, so we can put everything on this screen and have plenty of room.
It's gonna be nice. It's starting to look like a car. We were talking about just a little bit ago, in 2014, Dad had a rush, kind of like this, to get the Ranchero, which is Jared Scott's now, looks different then, but to get the Ranchero ready for 2014 Drag Week. And the little things ended up taking so much time at the end, so it'll be nice to have all the little things out of the way because we're kind of in that crunch again.
Okay, so to recap on 2014 for you that don't know, Drag Week started and ended in Tulsa, and I was finishing the Ranchero,
Which
and
is
everybody
2 hours away from us.
You guys came, 2.5 hours, 3 hours with a trailer. You guys came in here like midnight.
Yep.
You and your mom. And I had to change the shocks. I put air shocks on the back of your car because your trunk had weighted it down so bad. I cut the tailpipes off because they were hitting. Sent you guys on the way at 1:30 in the morning. I worked all night. By about 7 o'clock the next morning, I gave up. I said, I'm done. I can't do it. I hadn't even driven the car. The shop was trashed. I literally went home, went to sleep in my chair, and said it's going to be too late because you had to be there by like 2, I think. Something like 2. And so I went to bed. I went to sleep in my chair, woke up and said, oh, good, I missed it. There's no way I can make it. I get a phone call from you guys and said, where are you? I said, I'm done. I can't make it. I can't finish it. Something sparked in me. I came here, threw every tool in the on the floor in the bed of that Ranchero, loaded it in a trailer, drove 100 miles an hour, drove in the gate. I had like 15 minutes to get in line.
At best.
You and Nick Pluniak and Alan Rankin, I think, were letting a tailgate down as I'm
he's driving forward. Like, he cut it so close. He's literally pulling in and we're letting the tailgate down, like getting unstrapping the car.
The car was being unstrapped as I was moving, and I jumped in and started it, and it was the hardest week of my life.
My sister was the co-pilot too, and she's limited knowledge, especially then. So
the car was so unfinished and untested. I fought gremlins all week and still won
gasser class in 2014.
Set records and hauled butt. I mean, the car ran.
The thrash is not something foreign around here for a race week.
We expect to do it, but really, I thought I'd outgrown that, but it's there every year. So we'll probably be doing that the last minute on this car.
All right, now that the interior is at a point where it's getting close to mounting some Holley components and MSD components, let's go pull out all of that from the paint booth where it's stored and start laying it out on the floor. So we moved everything in here. It's like our own little summit in here. Not all this is for the 55. This is for Tom's Nomad over here. Jared Scott's Nomad somewhere sprinkled in here as well. So over here is my side. But we've got, well, actually I take that back. Some of this is my stuff over here. Here's all the Holley stuff. So we got wire care stuff right here for some wiring things. This was actually for the COE, but I'll probably use it here and then replace it for the COE. And then here is all of our Holley pieces. So there is a lot to figure out. There's going to be a lot of modules, like independent boxes and stuff that will have to be laid out and mounted. So that's kind of where that's coming. We want this wiring to be really nice, where all the relays and fuses and everything are right there, accessible, where the boxes are laid out nice, where the wires are easy to trace. So that's the goal with this. On our other cars, like the Nova and the Camaro, that's a little bit harder to do because we're working with stock hideaway compartments, and there's literally wires tucked in every nook and cranny. Like on my car here, we've got, you can't even see, but down here the ECU is tucked away. I'm trying to pull this up so you can see it tucked away down there. So there is wires that tuck behind the air conditioner, that tuck in the kick panel. So relays are everywhere. It's just not user-friendly for tracing down a problem. Same with the Nova, where the 55, there actually isn't those compartments, and like I even have stuff hidden in my inner fender, so maybe not the proper way to do it. But fun fact, that was actually the first car we did that had Holley EFI. So that's what I learned to tune on in this car, was the Dominator in this. So 16, got that, and used it ever since. So anyways, lots of wiring to do, lots of stuff to lay out. The goal is neatness. So it hit me yesterday as we were getting ready to start laying out the stuff for the 55 that there is a ton of wiring, which I knew, but like seeing it actually laid out, I was like, a little scared, you know, lot to figure out, lot to do, because I want it to be nice. I want it to be proper. I want it to be organized, clean, easy to trace a problem if there is a problem, you know, all that stuff. So I called my friend Ryan Witt. He has a page. He's a Holley guru. Gonna link it below. Go check him out. But called him, talked to him. He gave me some good pointers and tips on Holley wiring and just wiring in general, on how to like lay stuff out and try to get an initial game plan. And his point, which was a really good point that I thought I wanted to share, was that the biggest part of wiring, the hardest part, is thinking it out. So he suggested first laying out your Holley components. Mounting them, doesn't have to be a permanent mount, but get them laid out in the car where they're gonna be, and then start to just sit there basically and stare at it and visualize where wires can run and what the pass-throughs will look like and where they need to connect and what wires you need for each component, basically. He said, then establish your powers and your grounds. So I was like, okay, that makes sense. And with Holley, your sensors, they all share a common 5-volt and ground source. So when he said that, even though I kind of knew that, it didn't click with me. Even though I've wired previously, that's always been a question. How many can you actually splice into one another? That helped make that make sense. His other point was that you can only run one wire at a time. So don't overthink it. Run the one wire at a time. Plan ahead, but you can only do one at a time. Duh. But just hearing it like that helps me think about it. He actually just sent over some stuff that I wanted to share because I think it's really cool how he suggested to do this. So I'll show you on the computer. So he sent this. I believe this is a Camaro car that he's wired previously. And here you can see like the different components, a lockup, a dump, and a trans brake that he knows he's gonna have here. Got to decipher some of this writing. Fans here, master shut off. And so he kind of shows the path along here of what wires will need to be where. So his point is that it kind of helps you visualize the pass-through. So where you got to cut through, how you can run wires, some of the wires that are needed. I thought this was a really good point. Here also shows it. So he shows like the batteries back here. You have your main power lines, I think that's the ECU. And then this is something that I found to be really cool. It's a wiring template. So this is something he suggested. Usually when I pin out on a Holley, I am tracing individual wires and I never come through, I've never thought to do it like this, and I love this idea. He said, make a spreadsheet. So on Holley, you have the J1A and J1B connectors, J2A, J2B, you have the J3 and J4. So he suggested going through, he actually sent me this template, but going through and making a list of the pins and what they, like what each pin is. So like these are inputs. Over here, your A connectors are inputs, your B connectors are outputs, as you can see. So these that are blacked out here are the stuff that's already set in the Holley. So these are your main harnesses that you get from Holley with predefined pin outs. That's what these are. So you can't pin there because those are taken. So he has it listed what each pin is and the color, and like this is something he's added in, fuel pump input. So that's something that he pinned to that pin number, J1A pin 3. Like for this, I won't be using this. This is drive-by wire. So like mine won't be exactly the same. It'll look a little different than his. Anyways, I thought this was really neat. I thought it might be worth sharing as it might help somebody else use wiring. He made another good point that if you are wiring with the Holley, you should have all of your stuff pre-pinned out before you even start wiring the car, so you know where everything's going to go, because it'll start to fall into place and align itself. So with the sensors, you've got 3 wires. You've got your power, ground, and then your input wire or your sensor wire. And so the power and ground, like we talked about previously, all go to the 5 volts and the ground for the ECU. But then the inputs are the sensor wires are the ones that come in and get pinned here, so that way you can read and control and all that. Got a lot to do. It's gonna be a trying process as I try to do all this. I've never had this many components to wire at once, and I just really wanna make it look nice. Everything's so visible, so it's a challenge I'm excited about, slightly scared for, but excited about.
All the face palms here with the wiring is because I knew it was going to be hard. I didn't expect it to be easy. I wouldn't want it to be easy, but I did not know what I was getting myself into. I had no idea. It would be one thing to do it, but it was another thing to do it in a very, very, very short period of time. So anyways, all of that planning sounded so great, but once it came down to it, it was just get it done. That was the only option. So you'll see coming up, but that's what's funny to watch. Anyways, that's one of those things, like, listen to my advice, but don't do what I did. Isn't that what everybody gets to say? Okay, that's what happened. Listen to those cool tips that Ryan gave, but don't do what I did, because I didn't do them. So that's that.
So wrapping up the interior, there's a lot of Holley components, MSD components mounted. It looks so stinking good in there. I'm so pumped. It's unlike any car that I've driven before, any car that Dad's actually driven before. It's just so well laid out, so well thought out, and it actually fits the driver, so to say. Like, it's not working around, say like the Camaro or the Nova, you're working around the car, where this, you're building the car around it. So flip the roles a little. So anyways, let me show you where we're at, so that way we can wrap this up and get on to the next project. Check it out in here. Holy smokes. Look at all the Holley stuff. Wow, that dash is covered in fiberglass dust right now, but anyways. So, lots of boxes, lots of lights. It's gonna look like a rocket ship in here.
Because every box has 8 lights on it.
Yep.
So when we're driving at night, which we will be a lot, those lights are, I'm assuming, will all be flickering. Some of that stuff is things that we haven't even used yet.
Yeah, so here mounted, we have on this side, we've got the injector driver, and then here we have the EGTs, and then here we have the MSD Pro 600 box, which will control ignition. Down there we have the Dominator. We have an MSD relay here, so that's actually got 4 relays in there. You can run 35 amps continuous per each relay. A little different if you're doing it for short pulses. We'll actually have 2 more of those coming. They just haven't delivered yet. So those will mount right there as well. And then this nice big 12.3-inch Holley touchscreen dash. I still don't know all the capabilities to this. That is going to be, I gotta do some learning there, some reading.
That thing will almost do, this particular one is a standalone, so if we were doing old school carburetor, my original junk, we could put sensors in the motor and display everything on that dash without having to have an ECU. So it does a lot of stuff that we won't even use.
And it's just, it fits so well. Can you hold this for a second while I get in here? So there's a bunch of stuff in
Move my pins. You don't want to break a black pin on a black seat.
Have to show. So there's some question if it's actually built for me to drive, but it actually works great for both me and Dad. It's been a lot of time spent trying to figure out, okay, we can put this there, it works for me and it works for you. It's a compromise on everything. It fits pretty well. This is compromise in seat size for middle between where I would really want it and where Dad would want it. And then as far as like this, he'll just be a little bit more crunched up. But you gotta think, like if you were driving the Nova or the Camaro, you're not getting to set everything so specific as you're getting the opportunity to do in this. So I can drive his Nova and he can drive his Nova, and we were talking about even in your daily vehicles, you get in and you realize like that's not perfect necessarily. So it's just finding that middle point where we can both drive. But I think we found it. Pedals are to be determined on where they'll be positioned. But what's probably going to happen is my legs will be just a little bit more stretched out and Dad's will be a little bit more crunched out, but still works. So we've got everything super accessible. I can reach up, start the car, turn the switches on. Shifter, I can reach it even if I'm strapped in all the way forward. The master disconnect is at a good position as well. Chutes are super easy, that's a priority. And then fire suppression, also very easily accessible. So all the stuff that needs to be accessible is accessible, easy to do, grab handle, so I think it's gonna work for both of us. Well,
I think so.
One step closer to reality. I know you guys think you probably already saw this suit, but this is a new suit. This is my second suit. How much does it weigh?
A lot.
It's a heavy suit.
I bet it's 8 or 10 pounds.
This is exciting because this is SFI 15. So that means I can run methanol, have the suit for it, looking good. So it really is a very heavy suit. It's very thick. Anyways, it's actually very heavy. The car's gonna go slow now. I'm going to show you how he got finished up on this brake pedal because it's the first time I got to press a pedal and it actually do something. So that's exciting. While I was getting suit, you were brake pedaling. Let's check it out.
So, finished. Made the pedal, got welded and serviced it. We're gonna put some grip tape. We found some in the cabinet. Made a tab down here, 1/4-inch chrome moly tab for a 3/8 heim joint. Made a 7/16 shaft, so it's a little heavier diameter than 3/8, 3/8 heim joint. And then typically the master cylinder needs a 3/8, so I turned it down on each end and threaded this in and just made this end go in the master cylinder. So it actually works for both of us. It travels. We can simply adjust that rod. I can pull it back to here if she needs it, or I can put it further ahead if I like it. I mean, once we get in the car, we'll decide. The master cylinder's mounted, as you can see, it's right level with the top of the frame rails. So the floorboard will set down on it and I'll bolt it. The caps will just stick up. There's the mount. So it's tied into both tubes, 1/4-inch chrome moly. There's the the shaft where it's turned down, pull it out a little bit. So that fits in the master cylinder. And then there's the tab. Everything's ready for a little touch-up paint. Worked out really good. Super happy with it. It's way above the bottom of the rocker panels. You can see there's rocker panel to rocker panel. So the master cylinder's up there. Probably close to 3 inches. Should be out of the way. It won't run over anything. If we run over something, it shouldn't bother the master cylinder. So it should be good on brakes. Now onto the gas pedal.
Okay, and that is it for this video. It wasn't a super long one, but like I said, this is the last video before the thrash starts. So in the video that I'm going to try to have up tomorrow, maybe the next day, will be the chassis cert, which was pretty neat because Lonnie Grimm, who is actually the head of tech, or I can't think of his actual title, I'm not sure of his actual title, I should say, but he is now like at NHRA events, the national events, he is the head tech director. So he comes and he starts the chassis. He's actually from Arkansas, and I have him explain to you guys kind of the difference in the different 25.3, 25.5s, the red tags and all that, so it's pretty interesting. And then Jake shows up, Nick shows up, everybody starts to show up, and chaos just starts to ensue. So I think you guys are gonna enjoy from here out. It gets really, really busy really quickly. So that's it. Like I said, I am currently in California. I'm sitting in my $20 parking spot because there was no other parking spots. I drove for like an hour. So I'm gonna go grab some food, get this edited, and I'm gonna go to the beach for an hour. That's what I'm gonna do. Don't hate me. I'm gonna work while I'm there. Anyways, that's it. I'm done rambling. I've rambled a lot. So have a good day. Be happy, go fast, and stay pretty. And don't forget, we're still on the quest for the 6s. It's gonna happen soon. Okay, that's it. Bye.